Australian summers have become twice as long as its winters, according to research by the Australia Institute. It crunched the numbers from the Bureau of Meteorology from the past 20 years and compared them to records from the 50s and the 60s. Here's Richie Merzian from the Institute, which is a non-partisan organisation which conducts research on matters of public policy. Richie, welcome. Talk us through then what you found in the way the seasons are changing.
So what we did was relatively simple. We took the average temperatures at the start of summer, being the 1st of December, and at the end of summer, at the end of February, during the 1950s and 1960s. And then we looked at when those average temperatures occurred in the last 20 years. And what we found is summer, as we once knew it, is occurring much earlier than December and is finishing much later than February. On average across Australia, summer is now 31 days longer. And this, in a sense, is just one way of presenting what climate change and what climate impacts actually look like on a cultural level.
So where in Australia is this change most noticeable or most notable?
So we looked at 70 different locations, but there's some where the heating has been quite dramatic. So in some places like Port Macquarie, they're experiencing 7 more weeks of summer. We also see a significant reduction in winter as well. If we look at just the last 5 years in terms of heating compared to what it was mid-century, then summers are now stretching out to be twice as long as winters. So these are some of the climate impacts that we're seeing in a number of different locations.
Richie, what's happened to temperatures during both summer and winter? We're seeing more extremes of both.
That's right. Yeah, there is more extreme heat as well. I think 9 out of the last 10 hottest years have all occurred since 2005. So in addition to getting longer, they're also getting hotter, and with that comes some serious consequences around extreme heat. If we recall, extreme heat is already the largest killer of Australians of all natural hazards. In fact, it takes out more Australians than all of the natural hazards put together. So these consequences build a picture for what climate impacts can be, and this is all existing data. Nothing is projected. This is what's already happening now. The Bureau is quite clear. We've already had 1 degree of global warming on average, and we're potentially in train for 3 to 4 degrees. So could we deal with 3 or 4 times this amount?
So what are the implications for authorities in terms of preparing for bushfires specifically?
Yeah, so to some extent we can adapt, but it does hamper the ability to, say, use the winter months to do a lot of the preparation for a growing bushfire season. So you can adapt to some extent, but ultimately the solution is mitigation. It's reducing greenhouse gas emissions in Australia, and right now the target that the Australian government currently has, 26% emission reductions by 2030, is in line with a 3 or 4 degree world. And so more action nationally would help, and also other contributors as well, like fossil fuel exports. Considering Australia is the 3rd largest fossil fuel exporter, that's fueling the climate crisis, given fossil fuel combustion is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. So there's a number of tools at the national level that the Australian government could implement, as well as individual effort that we can all take.
Richie Merzian, thank you so much.
My pleasure.